we'll be discussing very important matters. Thank you, my dear colleagues. My dear friends, ating mga kababayan, my dear colleagues, yesterday we had a caucus which lasted 3 hours long to discuss the current events that are happening in Philippine politics, particularly on the issue of this People's Initiative. If I may be allowed to read the statement of the Senate on the People's Initiative. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It is an enduring symbol of our democracy, enshrining the foundation of our nationhood and reflecting the consensus of our citizenry. We respect and recognize the people as our sovereign, with the right to call for constitutional amendments. We must, however, guard against any sinister and underhanded attempt to change the Constitution by exploiting our democratic process under the guise of a People's Initiative. This so-called People's Initiative proposes only one change. In acting as a constituent assembly, the Senate and the House shall vote jointly. While it seems simple, my dear friends, the goal is apparent: to make it easier to revise the Constitution by eliminating the Senate from the equation. It is an obvious prelude to further amendments, revisions, or even an overhaul of our entire Constitution. If this PI prospers, further changes to the Constitution can be done with or without the Senate's approval, or worse, even absent all the senators. Should Congress vote jointly in a constituent assembly, the Senate, with its 24 members, cannot cast any meaningful vote against 316 members of the House of Representatives. This singular and seemingly innocuous change in the Constitution will open the floodgates to a wave of amendments and revisions that will erode the nation as we know it. To allow joint voting will destroy the delicate balance between which our hard-won democracy rests. It will change, or destabilize rather, the principle of bicameralism in our system of checks and balances. With this change, the Senate is left powerless to stop even the most radical of proposals. We cannot protect our lands from foreign ownership. We cannot stop the removal of term limits, nor no election scenario in 2025 or worse, in 2028. It is ridiculous that the Senate, as a co-equal chamber of the House, which is needed to pass even local bills, will have a dispensable and diluted role in charter change, the most monumental act of policymaking concerning the highest law of the land. Throughout Philippine history, the Senate has always been one of the first targets by those who seek to undermine our country's democracy. Today, the Senate once again stands as a bastion of democracy, as it rejects this brazen attempt to violate the Constitution, the country, and our people. This Senate of the people will not allow itself to be silenced. Signed, yours truly, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, Senate President Pro Tem Lauren Legarda, Senate Majority Floor Leader Joel Villanueva, Minority Floor Leader Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel, Senators Joseph Victor Ejercito, Mark Villar, Risa Hontiveros, Sani Angara, Maria Lourdes Nancy Binay, Alan Peter Cayetano, Pia Cayetano, Ronald Bato de la Rosa, Francis G. Escudero, Jingoy Estrada, Sherwin Gatchalian, Christopher Lawrence Go, Manuel Lito Lapid, Aimee Romualdez Marcos, Grace Poe, Bong Revilla, Francis Tol Tolentino, Rafi Tulfo, Cynthia Villar, and last but not the least, my dear colleague and friend and advocate for charter change, Robin Hood Padilla. And I'd like to add in the signature of Robin Padilla that he is for constitutional change, but like all of us, he refuses to allow voting jointly. It should be voted separately. This is the statement that the Senate has made. We are proud of this statement. We stand by our institution, not for our own personal benefit or gain, as I mentioned earlier during the Malolos Congress's 125th anniversary, but for the systems of checks and balances and democracy as a whole. We must stand fast these attacks on our democratic principles. So mabuhay ang Senado.